The 2020 Sugar Bowl is the sweetest bowl matchup this side of the college football championship. Number 5 Georgia and number 7 Baylor. A win tonight would place the name of Jake Fromm alongside the likes of Herschel Walker as Bulldog Sugar Bowl heroes. A victory for Matt Rule and quarterback Charlie Brewer would be Baylor's first Sugar Bowl win since the Bears' only appearance in 1957, and would cap one of the biggest turnarounds in college football history. The Bears and the Dogs under a crescent moon here in the Crescent City. A new day, a new year, and a chance to make some new Sugar Bowl memories. You are watching the All-State Sugar Bowl from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. A couple of 11-2 teams, Georgia and Baylor. The Bulldogs, the runners-up in the SEC. Baylor lost a heartbreaker for the Big 12 title in that championship game against Oklahoma. Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Orleans. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge will be joined shortly by Holly Rowe. Delighted to have you with us, and Happy New Year, everyone. Wasn't necessarily Happy New Year a year ago for Georgia here. They were number 5 a year ago when they took on Texas in the Sugar Bowl, just as they are this year. But last year they thought they should have been in the playoff. They seemed unfocused. Yeah. Coach Kirby Smart thinks this year they're ready to go, despite a lot of key players who aren't here.
Well, Kirby wants to focus on the guys who are here and the guys who are playing. And he wants one question answered. How much do you care? Because he looks at this team they're playing in Baylor. He says their MO is they out-hit and out-hustle the teams they play. We have to have that same mindset, that same attitude. He wants to see how his team will respond tonight.
Well, he knows his quarterback, Jake Fromm, will be focused, as he always is. Perhaps his last game for Georgia. He's a junior. He has a decision to make about the NFL when this one is over. It's been a difficult year around him on offense, and as a result, his performance has suffered a little bit too.
It has. I mean, his last 5 games, his completion percentage has been under 50%. Very un-Jake Fromm-like. But make no mistake, this guy has had a brilliant career as a 3-year starter at Georgia. He's 34-7 as a starting quarterback. His wide receiving core got decimated as the season went on. That affected his productivity down the stretch. But I know him as a competitor. He wants to play well tonight. And on the other side, the quarterback, Charlie Brewer, we had the Big 12 championship game. He did not finish the game, was injured in the first quarter with a head injury. He is back, he's healthy. He's a very fierce competitor, plays the game a lot like Sam Ehlinger, who really caused problems for this Georgia defense last year.
Baylor, one of the great stories in college football this year. 2 seasons ago, 11 losses. This season, 11 wins under Matt Rule. The coach is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Rule, you were a 7-year-old little boy watching the Sugar Bowl as a kid. It was a big moment for you. What is it like now to be on this field coaching your team here?
Well, it's exciting for me personally, but I'm more excited for these players. You know, of the 11 guys who are going to start on defense, 10 of them started 2 years ago. We were 1-11. They've worked. They've earned this opportunity. I want them to go play great.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Rule's Baylor Bears won the toss and deferred. So Baylor will kick off 11-2, both losses to Oklahoma. And Jake Fromm getting ready for what might be his last game as a Georgia Bulldog. Saw the numbers during Todd's introduction to Jake Fromm, one of the most prolific quarterbacks in Georgia history, and the same can be said of Charlie Brewer at Baylor. He's in the top 5 in most of their quarterback-related statistical categories. Noah Rauschenberg kicks off for Baylor. Demetrius Robertson deepest for Georgia. 5th meeting all time between these two. The previous 4 all played in Athens a long time ago, all won by Georgia. None of that means much right now. And it is a touchback to get this one started. So here come the Georgia Bulldogs, led by Fromm, the Georgia native from Warner Robins. Todd mentioned 42 starts, all of them in a row. That's the longest consecutive start streak among active quarterbacks at the top level of college football. 34-7, 12-6 against top 25 teams, as the leader of the Georgia Bulldogs with a remade offensive line in front of him. And questions about whether or not their top running back, DeAndre Swift, will play. He comes out throwing to George Pickens, the freshman, their leading receiver, and a gain of 7. Here are the Chick-fil-A impact players.
Well, you mentioned DeAndre Swift, probably not going to play in the game. They're starting the game with Zamir White, the first play. James Cook, also George Pickens, their impact receiver, and James Lynch and Terrell Bernard, two outstanding defenders.
Lynch, the defensive player of the year in the Big 12. That Baylor defense stops Zamir White. James Lockhart, part of a terrific three-man front. They're a 3-3-5 defense, and they have been disruptive all season long. A school record 43 sacks. They have 30 takeaways, among the leaders in the country in that category. On 3rd and 3, Fromm the pass, and on target for a first down. Pickens got just enough before he got upended by Jordan Williams.
And on the first drop back, 3rd down play, those two new starting offensive tackles hold their own very well. Going to see a lot of quick throws from Drake Fromm. They're not going to let him keep the ball in his hands very long.
Zamir White again. Strong run. Almost to the 40. Stopped by Henry Black. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, DeAndre Swift came out in full pads, warmed up with his team, and I was able to catch his eye and talk to him and say, hey, are you going to play? He said, yes, I want to try to play. He's standing there on the sideline right behind the coaches as if he can sub in any moment, but he is going to be smart with that AC shoulder joint separation or injury.
Possibly his last game at Georgia as well. He's a junior. Todd McShay considers him the top running back prospect in the NFL draft this year. Played just 5 snaps in their 37-10 loss to LSU 3 weeks plus ago in the SEC title game. Zamir White chopped down by Terrell Bernard. Help from Jordan Williams.
Now, this is what Georgia wanted to try to do, was to use this big offensive line, even with the new starters, and try to overpower this Baylor defense. They're big up front, but their linebackers, Bernard's only a 217-pounder, but so far, no rushing room for Georgia.
In this likely passing situation, James Cook comes in. Georgia has replaced both of its starting offensive tackles, 2 standouts, Andrew Thomas and Isaiah Wilson, both opted not to play to prepare for the NFL draft. Fromm's throw way too high in the direction of George Pickens. Jamison Houston in coverage for Baylor, and after picking up 1 first down, the Bulldogs will punt.
That was just a misfire by Jake because he had single coverage into the boundary on Pickens, and he just overthrew him.
There's Jake Camarda, sophomore from Norcross, Georgia's had a very good year, averaging 47.4 per punt. Rayland Arnold back deep. Baylor, a very good pick block team. End over end, and a fair catch made by Arnold. At the 17-yard line, Baylor on offense for the first time, led by the junior from Austin, Texas. Charlie Brewer, we mentioned, he's climbed the ranks in many offensive categories. Baylor top 4 in total offense, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. Facing Robert Griffin III in a lot of those categories. The Heisman Trophy winner, tough run right out of the gate for John Lovett. They rotate in 3 running backs. Lewis Seen, a freshman safety, made the tackle.
Nice block by Rob Solon, the tight end. Who plays also on the defensive line, so they ran to that power side into the boundary. This is a Georgia defense coming in, only giving up an average of 2.7 yards per rush. One of the best run defenses in college football.
That number is 2nd best in the country. Only Penn State giving up fewer yards per rush. John Lovett has the first down. Well, we mentioned the depletions to the Georgia roster for a variety of reasons. Injuries, preparation for the NFL, suspension, some of them undisclosed reasons. The coaches think it's a bigger deal on offense than defense, but playing without Tyler Clark and J.R. Reed, those are 2 all-conference players.
Yeah, those are 2 outstanding players. And in the case of J.R. Reed, a great communicator on the back end of the defense.
John Lovett, nice cut across midfield for 6-yard gain, dragged down by Tate Crowder, the senior playing in his final game. Had a terrific career for Georgia, one of the 12 semifinalists for the Butkus Award, as best linebacker in the country.
This guy right here, Denzel Mims, is a guy they've got to get going early in the football game. He was shut out in the Big 12 championship game, and he is their marquee guy.
On target, Brewer was a little bit behind R.J. Sneed, but he reached back to make the catch for a first down to the Georgia 41.
A really nice job by Sneed in the slot, little quick slant. Did a nice job of catching that with his hands and getting the first down.
Brewer is an accurate thrower, 64% for his career, only RG3 better in Baylor history, and he's on target there, but it's broken up. Trying to get it to their leading receiver, Denzel Mims, and DJ Daniel knocked it away. There is a flag down, as you see, right by the pylon.
Pass interference. Defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
I think what they're going to get DJ for is grabbing the arm of Denzel Mims at the end of this. Right there, he's got a hold of the arm, which alters his course and his ability to go for the football, and that's the call. And Mims is a guy that they have to get involved, and that was a good plan to throw the ball down the field to him early in this football game.
Coach Rule told us earlier this week that Mims has been playing the year with a fractured bone in his foot, which is remarkable since he's been so productive, with the exception of that Big 12 title game. Brewer slid down to avoid the hit. He stayed in bounds but lost yardage. Back to the 30-yard line, chased by Nakobe Dean.
And that kind of play is what really hurt them against Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. Their ineffectiveness on first down plays really put this offense behind the number, and they had 21 first down plays against Oklahoma. 14 of them were for 0 or negative yardage, and they can't afford to do that against a team as good as Georgia on defense.
Over the middle, off the hands of Ebner, and intercepted by Richard LeCounte. He's dragged down at the 26. First turnover of the game.
Media. Timeout.
Malik Herring put pressure on Charlie Brewer. Still looked like the throw was catchable, at least looking at it live, Todd.
It was a little bit closer to the middle than Ebner wanted it to be, but it was an outstanding play by LeCounte on the deflection. As we've watched Georgia here early in this ball game, 3 minutes left in the first quarter offensively, you know, what can they do? They have to still try to run the football and take some shots down the field off of play action. And the guy they want to try to go to is George Pickens. He's the only proven receiver they have on the field. But they have to get something going running the football behind a bigger offensive line.
They hand it off to Tyler Simmons, the motion man. And there's a flag down. He got 4, perhaps more, for a face mask.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense, number 8. 15-yard penalty added on to the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
Well, guys, you see DeAndre Swift has entered the game for Georgia. There's a reason. James Cook, the running back who's seen a lot of action here in this first quarter, is in the injury tent. I saw them take off his shoulder pads. He is being attended to right now. So DeAndre Swift, by need, has entered this ball game for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Wow. You wonder what they'll do with him, Holly. Will they let him run inside? Will they use him in the pass game? We'll find out.
He flips it back to Fromm, a flea flicker. They have a couple of men running deep, and it's George Pickens. A big play. Jamison Houston tackled him inside the 15-yard line.
Beautiful job by DeAndre Swift, not only making the pitch, but watch DeAndre Swift also, after he pitches the ball, pick up the blitzing linebacker Bernard, just enough to give Jake Fromm extra time to get that ball downfield.
There's Swift again. And you wonder, Todd, if the effectiveness of that play was helped by the fact that it was Swift back there, and the Baylor defenders aware that he's in the game, thinking they're going to give the ball to him on a running play with him in there.
Yeah.
He carried it to 12. They marked the ball back at the 15-yard line after the long pass play. 47 yards. Swift back on the sideline. It's Zamir White, the powerful runner, 215 pounds, now on the left hip of Jake Fromm. They pressure Fromm. It's off to Pickens. And he's down at the 6-yard line. Braylon Arnold might have saved a touchdown. Georgia trying to pick up the tempo here on offense.
Very quickly with that long pass, Sean, they finally flipped the field.
3rd down to short 2. Zamir White stopped short of the line to make. James Lockhart, 3rd member of that terrific front three, along with Bravion Roy and James Lynch.
Well, beautiful job is a little twist on the inside. Lockhart lines up as the end, but watch him loop inside, and this little twist game gets him right into the backfield for the stop. They're a very active front, and their linebackers, even though not very big, they're very quick and very active.
Rodrigo Blankenship, Georgia's all-time leading scorer, won the Lou Groza Award as the best place kicker in the country this year. Mind you, Baylor's a very good kick-blocking team. They blocked 5 this year, with that one through the middle with no problem. It's a 24-yard field goal. And Georgia on the board first, unlike last year when they were sloppy early and trailed Texas 17-0. Michael Hasty back for the kickoff from Rodrigo Blankenship. Josh Fleek's also back there. Talk about possible distractions with so many Georgia players not here. Baylor's had to deal with some of it too. Their team is really here intact, fired up and ready to go. But Matt Rule has been mentioned regularly. That's Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator, getting after the defense. Matt Rule's name has come up with several NFL coaching vacancies. He has a little bit of NFL experience, a year with the New York Giants. He's from New York City. You can understand why he'd be a candidate with the job that he's done. Charlie Brewer, deep ball, single coverage, but not on the same page at all with Chris Platt, who was running with Mark Webb in coverage.
Mark Webb was in perfect position coverage-wise. The ball was underthrown, didn't even have a chance for Chris Platt, but that would have had to have been a perfect throw because Mark Webb, who's a converted wide receiver, kind of plays the nickel or star position, was in great shape.
Brewer in trouble. Finally gets rid of it, just throws it away. They've given up 35 sacks, Baylor. When I talked to a couple of the coaches today, they said one of the problems is Brewer frequently hangs on to the ball too long.
Yeah, and that can happen. I mean, and sometimes he moves. He's a guy who likes to do things with his legs, and sometimes they don't know where he is. If he's moving in the pocket, sometimes those offensive linemen aren't sure where their quarterback is. And so, yeah, sacks aren't always just a lineman getting beat by a defensive player. Got to be careful here, though. 3rd and 10 against this Georgia defense. Smart with the ball.
4-man rush, and they get pressure on off the offense's left end. Denzel Mims made the catch. DJ Daniel made the tackle. Aziz Ojulari putting the pressure on.
Very much like when Kirby Smart was with Nick Saban at Alabama and the way they played defense. They contest every play. I mean, they don't want you to gain 1 ounce or 1 inch more than you catch the football. That's a couple times now where Baylor's completed a pass on 3rd down, but it's been short of the 1st down marker.
Isaac Power, good kick. Tyler Simmons, fair catch. That gets us to the end of the 1st quarter. Georgia leading 3-0. The Bulldogs will have the ball from their own 15-yard line. When we come back to the All-State Sugar Bowl. Happy New Year from New Orleans. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe back in New Orleans heading to the 2nd quarter. Georgia leading 3-0 after a 52-yard punt by Isaac Power. The Dogs begin from the 15 and 1st down ends at the 14. As Kenny McIntosh, the true freshman, is dropped by Chidi Obanaya.
And that's a mistake on the offensive line because the tackle blocked down the tight end. There were 2 tight ends to the backside. One of them they both blocked out, and they let the defensive end just chase the play down. So obviously a miscommunication. Again, they're playing with 2 new starters at tackle, also a new offensive line coach in Matt Luke.
Sam Pittman, who had been the line coach, left to become the head coach at Arkansas. Nice play there. Zamir White knocked down by Chris Miller. And there's Matt Luke, fired at Ole Miss after 3 years as the head coach at his alma mater. I think he got a raw deal myself. I know there's a lot of excitement against Lane Kiffin. But about Lane Kiffin. Jake Fromm, back shoulder throw on target there with George Pickens. But Matt Luke's a great hire. Kirby Smart snapped him up within 48 hours after Sam Pittman departed.
He's an excellent recruiter. He's an outstanding offensive line coach, and he's a really good person. So he's a really good addition for Kirby's staff.
Zamir White, nice run. He's a fan favorite in Athens. And across midfield with a first down to the Baylor 44 after Jordan Williams missed a tackle.
Two tight end formation, kind of trying to pound and ground here, and a missed tackle right there at the point of attack.
Jake Fromm over the middle and almost intercepted by Jordan Williams. One play after whiffing on the tackle near the line of scrimmage. He couldn't come up with the interception, and he's upset with himself. Intended for the tight end Charlie Werner.
Well, Charlie Werner prevented the interception. He knocks the ball out. He turned from receiver to defender immediately
Number 28,
and knocked the ball out.
His number to number 6 for Georgia.
This Baylor defensive line, these three, they stand up so much, so different.
Pickens really become their lead at wide receiver. Injuries to Lawrence Cager, to Dominic Blaylock. It wasn't a group that was all that productive when they had everybody healthy.
But they had more options. We saw them against Tennessee earlier, and those guys were all healthy. It was a much different looking pass game.
Lawrence Cager, big target, out with an ankle injury to the end of his career. He came over as a grad transfer from Miami. Kenny McIntosh for the first down.
Nice job by James Coley calling a formation that time to the field where they were able to outflank the Baylor defense. They snapped it quick. They had two tight ends and a receiver to that side. They got the ball out on the perimeter. And when we talked to Phil Snow, he thought some quick sweeps would be something Georgia would do because Oklahoma had success with those kind of plays against them in the Big 12 championship.
Pressure from Fromm's left. He throws for Pickens. He runs under it, catches it, and a touchdown for Georgia.
I mean, you know they're going to throw it to him. He's the only guy that they feel confident making contested catches. He's going against Jamison Houston, and a perfect drop in the bucket by Jake Fromm. Right over the outside shoulder. You can't throw it in a better spot. And even though Baylor knows the ball is going to Pickens in the air, he's already got 7 catches for 118 yards, and now a touchdown.
His 8th touchdown catch of the year to lead the Georgia Bulldogs. He only played a half of their SEC title game against LSU. Had to sit out the first half after he was ejected for fighting in their last regular season game against Georgia Tech. Rodrigo Blankenship the extra point. And Georgia now up 10-0 with 12.5 to go till halftime. It's the Georgia fans making noise now. Jake Fromm has completed 7 passes. They've all been caught by George Pickens. 7 catches, matches his season and career high. He's a freshman. He had 7 in their loss to South Carolina, and the 118 yards receiving already. Career high. He had the 46-yard catch on the flea flicker that set up their field goal that started the scoring tonight. So 10-0 Georgia. Scored more than 27 points in only one of their last 8 games. As you said, they play a lot of men on defense. Might not be quite as many tonight because some of their key players are absent. But it's a lot to keep track of. Tristan Ebner bites to the 30 before he's stopped by Monty Rice and Tay Crowder. We asked Dan Lanning, how do you keep track of all these substitution packages, who's going in and out? He said we just have to practice it over and over again until it becomes a habit.
Well, and if you watch him, like on this 2nd down play, they've already got their 3rd down groups like close to Dan Lanning right now, so they can sub quick.
Bring some pressure, and Brewer.
So here they come. That's what's that? 5 guys they're subbing on 3rd down. Obviously, distance dictates what group they want in, but they do. They practice it every day. They rep it. They script it that way in practice. So they're used to being ready to sub quickly.
And so we've only had too many men on the field twice this season, which is impressive. Of course, when you're a coach, it drives you crazy to have even two, but given as much as they substitute. Brewer on third down hits his target off the head, it appeared. R.J. Sneed. There's a flag down.
After the play, personal foul, offense, number 56. It'll be 15-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty, fourth down.
Well, I mean, it could have been worse, maybe. Watch the end of this play. Here it is right here. And at the very end, he just kind of takes a shot right to his head. And he's working on Nolan Smith, a freshman linebacker. That's clearly a penalty and not a smart one. Georgia stands to get outstanding field position again here with a 10-0 lead after that penalty and punt.
So Isaac Power now standing on his goal line to punt to Tyler Simmons. Boy, he hangs them up high. A crowd around Simmons, who made the fair catch at the 41-yard line. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, of the guys who chose to sit out this game, Jake Fromm was not one of those for Georgia. He does have an NFL future in mind, and he told us he will sit down with his family after this game and make a decision about what's moving forward. He did submit paperwork, receive a grade for the NFL. But, you know, Kirby said he has so much class. He is such a competitor. He never points a finger. He wants to be out here with his guys. And I just sat and watched an offensive huddle. He is engaged. He's yelling at his guys. He wants this to be good. This guy loves Georgia and wants to be out here competing for them, regardless of his NFL future right now.
Well, he's off to a good start. There's his parents, assuming possibly girlfriend, wearing the jersey.
Three-man rush. They don't get anywhere near Fromm, so it's Pickens with his 8th catch. And he scampers out of bounds with another Georgia first down to the 40-yard line.
Again, another nice job by formation. They got Pickens in a little area. He sat down, and the quarterback found him. And again, I think that Baylor and Phil Snow is going to have to do something different to account for George Pickens. Maybe roll a safety over the top. That's it. Cover him tighter and roll somebody over the top and make somebody else for Georgia beat you in the throw game.
They're at the Baylor 40-yard line, 1st and 10. Georgia leading 10-0. They fake to McIntosh, and the throw to Tyler Simmons, and he couldn't break free of the tackle after a gain of 5. Graylin Arnold, excellent defensive back, 2nd team all Big 12 this season.
We mentioned the last 5 games of the regular season, or actually 4 regular season in the SEC championship game. Jake Fromm was under 50% completion in all 5 of those games. Tonight, 9 of 12. He looks sharp, and he seems to be getting on a little better page with his receivers, especially George Pickens.
They flip it to Simmons, heading the other direction. Nice play call and well executed, and Simmons finally taken out of bounds just shy of the 20-yard line.
Really nice job by the tight end, Charlie Werner. Watch Werner get out here and lead. A lot of times you bring that tight end in motion and he cuts off the backside end. This time he passes up the backside end and gets out on the safety. Gets the block on Graylin Arnold, and that perimeter run on the toss to the wide receiver Simmons has been a good play for them a couple times here already in the first half.
Another play action pass. Fromm. Baylor fans want a holding call. Fromm throws it away. They've been managing all year, Baylor, to get pressure largely with that front three. They're really not, even with a couple of key offensive linemen not here tonight for Georgia.
Yeah, so far the pass protection has held up well. And, you know, even when we talked to Kirby Smart, he said, you know, they've been great pass protecting. He felt like they underachieved this year in terms of their ability to run block, because most people thought they would be the most dominant offensive line, not just in the SEC, but in college football, and they weren't able to establish the run.
Curtis said that was his biggest disappointment. Pickens again having a monster first half. But it's pretty easy to explain when you watch Georgia play. They don't have playmakers and wide receivers, so the other teams are saying, okay, we're going to single cover these guys. We're going to load up the box. We're not going to let DeAndre Swift beat us. And they haven't been able to take advantage of those loaded boxes in the passing game.
Well, here's Pickens with tight coverage. No help.
Fromm surrounded, gets it off for Charlie Werner. He was covered by Henry Black, a Louisiana native, back in his home state, fifth-year senior out of Shreveport, who's been through the bad times and the good for the Baylor Bears.
I'm not really sure why Jake didn't take a shot at George Pickens on this play, because I think he had him for a touchdown. They're going to settle for the field goal, but I think he had a shot on the post, the skinny post, if he goes ahead and gives him a chance at the ball.
There's Blankenship, who's connected from 24. This is from 31. Baylor thinks it has a chance to block a field goal tonight. They'll get close to that one. Blankenship right down the middle again. Mentioned he has grandparents from Louisiana, cousins here as well, and has a number of relatives in attendance here tonight. Been a much easier start to the night for Uga than a year ago when we were here, and Uga got locked up with Bevo, the Texas Longhorns mascot, and decided mismatch, at least from a weight and size standpoint.
Horns.
And horns. Yes. Horns would seem to help Bevo in that one. Not that Bevo would have needed the horns necessarily, but Blankenship. More touchbacks than anybody in Georgia history. That's because he kicked off all the time over these last few years, although not as much this season with the offensive struggles. Well, here's a look back to last year. Right before the game started. I think that set the tone for the evening, too, because Texas came out firing. Georgia mistake thrown early. It was 17-0 Longhorns. Georgia rallied back 28-21.
Much happier right there.
I'm just saying I would have held my own. They didn't hurry me away from Bevo. And now Brewer going deep, and it is incomplete. Looking for Tyquan Thornton.
And Matt Rule's upset, and should be, because he got away with a grab of the jersey. He was beat on the play, and the defender grabbed the jersey to slow him down. That was DJ Daniel. Watch as he gets beat on the play. He's going to reach out and grab the jersey, actually the undershirt under the jersey, and that impedes the receiver from going to the football. That's got to be called.
And that's blatant. We've had 2 of those in as many games that we've done, and the officials completely whiffed on what should have been a pass interference call against LSU in the SEC title game. And I mean, that's right out there for everybody to see.
Especially when you see the shirt like pull all the way out from the body. I mean, it's obvious that it's a penalty.
Well, you mentioned it during the Big 12 title game. Matt's dad, Dennis Rule, is a minister, and he's on the sideline regularly. Remember, there's right behind Matt. Says, when I start to get a little saltier, my dad gets closer and closer. There he is.
Inching his way closer.
He said he doesn't always say something, he just lets me see him so I know to clean up my language. Now Brewer gets hit, got it off, knees are down on the catch. Or actually lost about a half yard to the tight end, Christoph Henley from Innsbruck, Austria. Went to high school in Arlington, Texas. That is a huge miss.
Yeah.
Especially in a game like this where there isn't likely to be a lot of offense.
And again, 3rd down and long. You're just not going to have any success against this Georgia defense. First of all, the creative pressures, it's going to cause confusion. You're not going to block them. And then they do so many different things coverage-wise when they get you in those situations.
Matt Rule still giving the side judge John Hayes an earful. Isaac Power. Tyler Simmons. 46-yard punt and an 8-yard return. Georgia up 13-0 in the second quarter. Zamir White ran into Chris Miller and gets stopped after a gain of about 4. It's a big night for Pickens. We mentioned 9 catches, a career high, as is the 136 yards. He's had a touchdown. The only other catch by Tyler Simmons for a 6-yard gain. This is the 11th trip to the Sugar Bowl for Georgia, and Pickens is the first Bulldog receiver to have 100+ yards receiving in a Sugar Bowl game. Fromm on target. George Pickens tried to leap over Grayland Arnold as he approached. And it's another big gainer. And it must be a wonderful sight, Todd, for Jake Fromm to look out there and see open receivers.
Beautiful route. He really fooled Chris Miller. Miller was trying to give extra coverage, but that little in fake froze Chris Miller. And when he broke out, there was no help. Beautiful route that time. Patience by Pickens.
So much of this season, it's been hard for Georgia to get receivers open. They feel like they have a very good recruiting class of receivers coming in for next year. Zamir White close to another first down. Matt Landers short of the first down. And Phil Snow, one of the real characters in coaching, too. Just a fun guy to talk to. Very interesting, passionate.
He was fired up for this game because he likes old school hard-nosed football. And he says that's what they play in the SEC, maybe a little bit more than what we see in the Big 12. He likes the challenge, but right now, Georgia kind of having the better of it. The better of his defense.
He tells his players Big 12 is soft. Just trying to fire him up and get him mad a little bit. It's less soft this year, if it ever in fact was soft. Much better defense played in the Big 12 this year. Demetrius Robertson for another first down.
These wide runs, I mean, they were not having success running inside. The wide runs have been much more effective, and it's really because the tight ends are blocking so well on the perimeter. That time, Eli Wolf, an outstanding block on the edge.
You know, another person who's been criticized this year is Georgia has not been terrific on offense. James Coley, the offensive coordinator, he's done a very nice job with the play calling tonight. The variety. And of course, when you have success as they complete again the Pickens, Todd, doing some things, it opens up other things. Right. When you're getting stuffed on every play, you can't set up other options in your playbook. There's James on the left.
Well, as Kirby said, they had to overachieve with their wide receiver and skill positions this year. They had to do things creatively that they haven't had to do in years past because of the injury situation.
Second down and 8, under 2 minutes to go in the half. Georgia leading 13-0. Fromm to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Matt Landers.
See, this is that same technique by the corner that I talked about with Pickens. Watch the corner jump outside. He runs the post and the ball is right on him before the safety can get over there to help. It's the exact same route that he didn't take the shot to Pickens, and they settle for the field goal. This time he gives Landers a shot, and they come up with a touchdown. We think.
DeAndre Swift in. They're going for 2 here in the first half. Fromm looked at Swift. Instead, throws an incomplete pass, batted away by Grayland Arnold. The general direction of the tight end, Eli Wolf. Appreciate a round of applause from the Georgia fans.
First half.
The freshman George Pickens, the star of the night. And here's Kirby with Holly.
Well, Coach, you wanted your team to out-hit and out-hustle. How do you assess that they started this Sugar Bowl game for you?
Well, it's not over, and we all know that. It's a 4-quarter game. This team's been in a lot of tough battles, and right now we're playing hard. We're a little winded. I think they are, too.
You've had some great success with Pickens in the passing game. What is really allowing that to kind of come alive for you right now?
Free access right now. If they don't get their hands on him, it's hard to contain him, and Jake's made some good throws to him.
And James Cook, what's his status to return to this game?
Right now, I'm not sure. He's got a rib injury and don't know if he'll be back.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Holly. Our score at the half, Georgia 19, Baylor nothing. We'll send you to the Mazda halftime report right after these messages. As you're watching the All-State Sugar Bowl from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, number 5 Georgia leading Baylor 19-0 as we head to the second half. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge. Todd, how does Baylor get back in this game?
They got to do two things. Offensively, they got to find a way to create some explosive plays. They just had 0 in that first half, and I know that's a tall order against this Georgia defense. Now on the other side, they have to have a different plan for George Pickens. He had 11 catches. I mean, he's been a one-man wrecking crew, and they've got to do something different for him in the second half.
The Sugar Bowl record for catches in a game is 14, but the Georgia record for catches in any bowl game is 12 by Hines Ward. And Pickens is 1 away from that. Rodrigo Blankenship, another touchback. A moment ago, Holly had a chance to speak with Baylor coach Matt Rhule.
Coach, how can you be more aggressive offensively and try to find some openings?
Yeah, I think we have to push the ball down the field a little bit more. We've gotten behind them twice, got 1 pass interference, came down here. We just missed this one down here. So, they're a good defense, and we knew it would be a lot of tough sledding, but we've gotten behind them. I think we're going to have to be aggressive, push the ball down the field, and see if we can hit one.
All right, George Pickens has been a problem. What can you do a little different there defensively?
I just challenge our guys to go play him. I mean, we're playing off him and go in front of him. He's really been their answer, and so we played really good defense early. I said, hey guys, let's just go challenge him. He's a great player. It's an opportunity for us to go play better in the second half. Hopefully we answer the call. I think we will.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, they had a chance to get off to a good start there. Denzel Mims was open, and he and Brewer could not connect.
Another really slow night for Denzel Mims. No catches in the Big 12 championship. 1 for 8 yards tonight. Got a chance again.
And he's open deep, and Brewer's on target, and Mims hangs on inside the 35 of Georgia.
Well, that's exactly what Matt Rhule told Holly. We got behind him in the first half. We've got to be more aggressive, see if we can take some shots down the field. And I just mentioned chunk plays. They've got to get some explosive plays. That's the first one in the ball game they've gotten.
40-yard play. Longest of the night by far for Baylor. You alluded to, Todd. There's Josh Fleeks. Stopped after a short gain.
I think they've got 2 guys in Mims and also Tyquan Thornton that can run by people. If Georgia wants to play tight coverage right up on you, that's what you have to do. You have to challenge them downfield.
Josh Fleeks. Nice action after the catch to get the first down. Got enough before Richard LeCounte and Eric Stokes could combine to stop him.
Credit to Jeff Nixon and Glenn Thomas, the co-offensive coordinators. An aggressive plan coming out here to start the third quarter. Got a little momentum offensively.
Preston Ebner, nice bounce outside, then he stumbled. He crossed the line of scrimmage. He got 3. You heard Kirby Smart on the way to the locker room with Holly talk about Baylor's history. They've won a lot of close games. They have 5 fourth-quarter comebacks to win this season. That's the most in Power 5. So they know they can do it. And Kirby Smart's well aware of that history as well. Ebner changed direction. Hard to do against the fast defense. They collared him near the line of scrimmage. Lewis Seen, the freshman safety, got the start tonight.
Good play right here for Charlie Brewer now, because you've got momentum, you got something going. You need a touchdown on this drive. Certainly you want points because you've been shut out, so you would take a field goal, but you need a touchdown to get yourself right back in this football game.
Mims goes wide to the right. It's like the corner pressed up on him, might have some help. Matter of fact, he came off him and blitzed, and they attack that blitz and convert on the quick pop to Mims. Well executed by Baylor. First down.
That requires a quarterback and wide receiver being on the same page. They both see the blitz, they know where the coverage is coming from and where the ball needs to be placed, and both guys were totally in sync on that third down conversion.
4 out of 5 on this drive for Brewer. He's already thrown 27 passes in the game. Early in the third quarter, a play fake for Mims again. Touchdown, Baylor. Mims a non-factor in their Big 12 title game against Oklahoma. And not much of a factor in the first half tonight. Clearly, they made an effort to get him more involved on this drive.
Well, you can see his strength and his length. I mean, that's a lot of hand fighting with he and Eric Stokes. And if they're going to let him do that, you just have to be physical as a receiver and then go high point the football. And that's exactly what Denzel Mims did. Beautiful possession that time for Mims, their leading receiver.
His 12th touchdown catch of the season. He's a senior. In the 28th of his career. That's third all-time at Baylor behind only Corey Coleman and Kendall Wright. John Mayers kicked the extra point. And a little life on the Baylor sideline as we start the second half. They're on the board. It's now 19-7 in favor of Georgia. Baylor finally finds the end zone, an 8-play, 75-yard drive. Mims had one catch in the first half for 8 yards. He had 3 on that drive for 60 yards and a touchdown.
It was physical, and that's what you got to be with the kind of coverage techniques that Georgia uses. You've got to be physical as a receiver. Mims certainly was on that drive.
Mims, the only player in FBS football with at least 8 receiving touchdowns in each of the last 3 seasons. Noah Rauschenberg kicks off for the Baylor Bears. Demetrius Robertson back deep.
He was very hesitant.
So first possession of the half for Georgia. Jake Fromm on target. Tyler Simmons a 5-yard catch, tackled immediately by Raleigh Tejada.
Well, we saw the offensive answer. Now what is the defensive answer going to be for George Pickens in this second half?
And now it's single coverage out wide. Here's Zamir White. They yank him down. He's been a tough runner all night, but couldn't get away from Braylon Arnold, the redshirt junior from Cooks, Texas. And now the Baylor fans, many of them on their feet on the near sideline, engaged for the first time tonight.
Again, they like Pickens into the boundary with that big body.
3-man rush. They haven't done much to threaten Fromm tonight. He throws incomplete. So a 3-and-out. And Baylor will get the ball back with a little momentum.
This is what they did to George Pickens on this third down. Double coverage. All right, Phil Snow said we're not going to let him just have free reign in our defense. We're going to make Jake Fromm go somewhere else with the football, especially on third down.
Kirby Smart even said in the interview with Ollie, well, why is Pickens so good? The free release. You know, they sort of let him have his way getting off the line of scrimmage. He's too good an athlete. Have to disrupt him somehow. Jake Camard on the punt. Braylon Arnold back deep, has some room on the catch from the 26.
I like the way that.
There's a flag down. He's down at the 43. Out of the pistol now, JaMycal Hasty is the back. Can he get outside? He did. Tate Crowder runs him down. But they're to the Georgia 46. Here's Holly.
Denzel Mims, the wide receiver, came alive for Baylor on that last drive, but he was injured on that play. He took a hit in the very beginning of that series. He's been over on the sideline where they've put an additional padding on his left rib cage down around below his waist, and they have padded him out. They actually had to re-sew a big hole in the back of his jersey as well, needle and thread out on the sideline, but now he's back out on the field.
It looked like he landed on the football on that first incomplete pass.
Brewer sets on target and dropped by JaMycal Hasty. Would have had a first down. Monty Rice, the linebacker there for Georgia.
Looks like he just took his eye off the football at the last minute, either thinking about turning up field, wanting to see where the sideline was. The third down situation now, 4 of 10. Baylor is on third down. Actually, both teams 4 of 10 right now in the ballgame.
Interesting formation here. A tight bunch to the right of Brewer. He brings Hasty back to his left hip. They'll try to get Mims singled up on the near sideline. He was. Brewer has a pocket, has a receiver, has a first down, or does he? The Georgia defender saying it's an incomplete pass, and it is.
Christoph Henley was the intended receiver, guarded by Mark Webb, and it's a good throw. You see Henley, a bigger target, working against a smaller Webb, but the ball gets ripped out. That's just good physical, tough play by Mark Webb to get that football out.
But there's a long way to go in this game. I think Matt Roldo feels like we have momentum right now. Let's go for this on 4th down and 4. You like the decision if they do it?
I don't like it right now.
No.
I don't. This could actually be a quick kick also. Not ruling out that possibility either. Mims isolated on the bottom of the screen.
On DJ Daniel. They are going to run the play. Brewer! Belted from behind by Azeez Ojulari. They got the ball. It wouldn't have mattered. They took over on downs, but Javon Walker wound up with it for the fired-up defensive coordinator, Dan Lanning.
Ojulari just beat the left tackle, Connor Galvin. That was one-on-one. He's a speed rusher in a sprinter stance, and he just beats the left tackle to the quarterback. No help on the outside by the back. Charlie Brewer had no idea that pressure was coming. And Georgia takes over on the Baylor side of the 50-yard line.
We talked about before, I don't like the decision here. It's a defensive game. You expect it to be a defensive game.
The field
you're
position.
Playing one of the field position. You know you're playing one of the best defenses in the country. There's a long way to go. And now you've given momentum perhaps back to Georgia. Here's Kenny McIntosh, the ball carrier. He gets 8 on 1st down for the Bulldogs. Huge play by Ojulari.
2nd and short. I mean, this is a good chance maybe to go play action and take another shot at Pickens if they get him isolated.
It's McIntosh bouncing outside. And he's run down by Woods, who just came in for Chris Miller. It's a 1st down for Georgia inside the 30.
Watch Jamari Sawyer, the starting right tackle, one of the new starters, does a nice job. And he's blocking on Lynch, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Does a nice job of manhandling him. And McIntosh cuts off his block.
Fromm off the play fake. Throws far sideline. Nice coverage by Jamison Houston on George Pickens. If you're just joining us, on 11 catches for 165 yards and a touchdown in the 1st half.
That's the same kind of play and same kind of one-on-one situation they scored the touchdown on. It was a good throw, but that was excellent coverage by Houston, able to knock that ball away. A lot of 2 tight ends for Georgia. Oh, that 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends.
And a nice play. Kenny McIntosh dumped by Jordan Williams behind the line of scrimmage. So the Baylor defense, after they went for it near midfield, trying to force a field goal attempt by Georgia.
Good quick read by Jordan Williams. He slipped inside the block. Charlie Warner, the tight end, was supposed to pick him up, but it was such a quick read by Jordan Williams. He didn't get a piece of him. And a negative yardage play on 2nd down. Big for the Baylor defense.
3rd down and 13. 8.5 to go, 3rd quarter.
Again, Pickens out here, wide to the wide side.
From near side, caught, lunging for the line to gain is Simmons. I think he was out as he was lunging at the 19. And it looks like the field goal unit is coming out. Great look from the camera in the yard marker.
And that's a perfect throw, too. I mean, there is grabbing and pushing, and that ball has to be thrown to the outside of the receiver, but not out of bounds. That was a perfect placed ball by Jake Fromm.
Blankenship, it's a fake. It's the holder, Jake Camarda, with a 1st down.
And if he doesn't stumble, it might be a touchdown. Eli Wolf with the lead block. Eli Wolf is the protector on the other side. He becomes the lead blocker. It's perfectly executed. Easily gets the 1st down. And it could have been a touchdown.
Jake Camarda, the punter And Holder delights the Georgia sideline. So the offense still out there. There's Zamir White. Powers his way into the end zone for a touchdown.
Again, the two tight ends, Werner and Eli Wolf. Watch these two guys here, 17 and 89. Get out on the perimeter and get key blocks. And then the power of Zamir White takes care of the unblocked defender as he runs right through. J.T. Woods, the safety.
Crowd chants his name in Athens. Zeus, his nickname. Powerfully built, tough runner. We've seen that several times tonight. He's rushed for 72 yards with very little action in the backfield from DeAndre Swift. Blankenship kicks the extra point. And that decision to go for it near midfield backfires for Baylor. Georgia takes advantage of the short field. Seems to have momentum back up by 19.
Georgia takes a 26-7 lead after the strong running from Zamir White. What a story of inspiration and overcoming adversity in his young life. Born into this world with a lot of different challenges, a cleft palate, cysts on his umbilical cord and kidneys that were not functioning. Doctors did not give him much of a chance. Spent over 3 months in the ICU for newborns. But here he is playing college football. He's overcome injuries to be out here on the field. What a story of inspiration for Zamir White and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, he's last couple of years also had to overcome 2 ACL tears. One from the state playoffs, a senior in high school, one in fall camp at Georgia in 2018. Here's Josh Fleeks on the kickoff return. He's tripped up and winds up at the 25-yard line. JaMychal Hasty straight ahead. Monty Rice and Devontae Wyatt made the tackle. 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Can Baylor find a way to get a spark again? They had it briefly. Getting stopped on 4th down on the play by Azeez Ojulari. Seemed to, at least for the moment, take the wind out of the sails of the Bears. Brewer sidesteps the rush. He's on target. Out across the 45 goes Tyquan Thornton with a first down.
Tell you what, Charlie Brewer doesn't have very long to throw the football. Georgia coming after him, steps up in the pocket, eludes the pressure, and delivers a strike for the first down. No questioning his toughness.
Brewer just threw it away. Charlie Brewer's from a football family. No strangers to bowl games. All the way back to his grandfather.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback
and Charlie played quarterback at Texas, beat Texas A&M twice in the mid-50s when they were coached by Bear Bryant. And Charlie's dad, Robert, played quarterback at Texas. He was the MVP of the '82 Cotton Bowl when the Longhorns beat Bear Bryant then at Alabama. And Charlie Brewer's older brother Michael played quarterback both at Texas Tech and Virginia Tech. Screen, Treston Ebner, lots of blockers inside the Georgia 33-yard line. Now said they both get enforced, or they'd either get enforced.
Yeah. The only difference is for Newman Johnson, it's a, if he gets another one of those, unsportsmanlike, he's out of the football game.
Big hole outside for Ebner again. Missed tackle. He absorbs the hit and gets bounced out of bounds by DJ Daniel. It was Lewis Seen who missed the tackle closer to the line of scrimmage, and Baylor's on the move again with a 17-yard run.
Nice job by the left tackle. Connor Galvin turning his man out, and Monty Rice, who usually takes the right angle, he stepped inside and got blocked by the center, was not able to scrape over to make the tackle. You don't see that mistake made by Monty Rice too often, but that enabled that to be a big run.
5.5 to go, third quarter. Single coverage and a flag down. Mark Webb was tangled up with Chris Platt, the intended receiver, in the end zone.
Yeah, Charlie Brewer did a nice job of giving his receiver a chance. Now I'll tell you what, here's what's happening in the second half, different than the first half. Georgia always puts their hands on you. Their defense. They always push and grab.
Pass interference. Defense, number 23. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic. First down.
The difference in the second half is Baylor is fighting back. They're pushing and grabbing too. Now, there's the hold with the left arm. You could have, it could have gone either way, right? You could have said either one of those guys was holding the other guy's arm.
Brewer has been an effective runner near the goal line. 10 rushing touchdowns this year. He follows Hasty and scores.
Second effort got him in.
That's reminiscent of Sam Ehlinger from a year ago throughout the Texas quarterback's career. He is a tough young man, Charlie Brewer, out of Lake Travis High School in Austin, Texas.
This is just quarterback power. You're going to lead with the tight end. The back is the lead. You're pulling the backside guard, Khalil Keith. He wasn't in initially on the jump, but the second effort when he hit the ground, he goes into the end zone. Tough, hard-nosed run by Charlie Brewer. And you see how he had that ball protected with both arms.
18th career rushing touchdown. John Mayers kicks the extra point. Well, Baylor, after being shut out in the first half, scored 14 points here in the third quarter. So Noah Rauschenberg kicks off. Demetrius Robertson back deep, transfer from Cal. He'll run it out this time. And he nearly reached the 25-yard line. Baylor had 97 yards of offense in the first half. They had 154 in the third quarter. They're back in the game as we head to the fourth quarter of the All-State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Time for tonight's All-State Mayhem moment. Todd, I haven't seen this before. Right at the end of the quarter, the Baylor team came over to talk to the coaches for a minute. And I don't know if Matt Rule sent them down there, but they went down to the student section, almost as if they were imploring them to create a little mayhem. And came to the near sideline where there are more Baylor fans behind their bench. And the Georgia said, okay, you can do that. We're going to put on a little light show between the third and fourth quarter. Great atmosphere. It's not a sellout crowd, but they're fully engaged now, and they're watching what's turned out to be an entertaining game. Simmons goes in motion. Giving it to him a couple of times. Now Zamir White powers ahead. Terrell Bernard made the tackle for Baylor. And DeAndre Swift comes in.
We've only seen him run it inside one time. They had him in to run the flea flicker. They had him in to throw down by the goal line.
Second down and 2. Zamir White. Nice hold, good run, first down, 45-yard line.
Nice double team by the right tackle, Sawyer, and the tight end. They're just running power football inside. They've got nice yardage on the sweep type plays. And right now at this point in the game in the fourth quarter, they want to try to keep powering it inside with Zamir White. Mostly all two tight end formations for Georgia here in this ball game.
Marcellier getting just his second start of the season at right tackle for Isaiah Wilson, who had started 24 games in his career. Opted not to play tonight. Drop pass, Zamir White open in the flat. It'll be 2nd and 10 with 12 minutes to go. Georgia has led throughout, leads 26-14.
Those are the plays where you really miss DeAndre Swift. I mean, he's such a great receiver out of the backfield. The coverage went with George Pickens, and you can see DeAndre saying, dude, you make that, you got a lot of room to run.
Swift has 24 catches on the year. He's their 4th leading receiver on the team. Kenny McIntosh, the running back now. Fromm fake to him. Pickens, nifty moves after the catch.
Wow, what
and lunges forward for what looks to be a first down.
Excellent work after the catch. It's just a short route. He attacks the leverage of the defender. Attacks that outside shoulder. Jake Fromm gets him the ball on time. And then you just see the toughness and the strength working for extra yardage.
You mentioned Baylor had to do a much better job with Pickens, and they have. That's his first catch of the second half after he had 11 in the first half. McIntosh stood up.
You know, you wonder if what might be set up for Georgia right now in Jake Fromm's season. Running all these inside runs is just for Jake Fromm to keep one on like a zone read, because I think they're there.
The previous play, by the way, Pickens with that catch is 12th of the game, ties the Georgia record for most catches in any bowl game. This is their 56th bowl game in school history. Hines Ward had 12 in the 1998 Outback Bowl against Wisconsin. A 33-6 Georgia win.
I think he's going to break it before the night's done.
James Lynch didn't get anywhere near Fromm. He throws on the move, and it is dropped in the end zone by Demetrius Robertson. Tough to tell from here if it was deflected by the defender, Graylin Arnold.
Well, because Jake Fromm was moving in the pocket and throwing back to his left, the ball kind of got outside. If that ball is thrown where he can continue to run to it, it's an easy catch. Should have been a catch, was not a catch, but it was a little bit harder because Jake Fromm was rolling to his right and throwing back to the left.
That looks like a lot of the year for Georgia. Yep. You know, Kirby Smart said Fromm's completion percentage, which is down about 7% from last year, wouldn't be much different this year had they not dropped so many balls. Fromm, finally, James Lynch introduces himself. Sack back at the 48-yard line.
Well, he just overpowered Mays right here, the left tackle. Now Kinley, the left guard, is there to help, but doesn't really do a good job helping his left tackle. And Lynch just power bull rush that time on his way to the quarterback, forcing the punt. That could have been a touchdown on second down. They get a sack on third down, and now Baylor will get the football back.
47 sacks. They had 25 all of last season. Jake Camarda, under 10 minutes to go.
Plus 22 in sacks and plus 20 in turnovers from one year to the next. That's pretty good.
Preston Ebner wrestled down by Monty Rice. Short gain. You go back to some, I don't want to call it mismanagement, but times in this half where Baylor's had to use a couple of timeouts that it was a little sloppy. Now they really wish they had them. Under 9 minutes to go. Oh, he's lucky to get away with that. Miscommunication with Denzel Mims, who was flying up the sideline. DJ Daniel got his hands on it, couldn't pick it off for Georgia.
Mims, he converted this to a go route. Daniel had eyes on the quarterback the whole time and very nearly picked that one off and would have had a lot of green grass in front of him had he caught it. Big play right here for Baylor.
Third down and 12. They rush 5 to the Bulldogs. Brewer, nice job to dance around it. He has a long way to run, and he's not going to get there. But a flag thrown along the near sideline.
He definitely got hit in the white. I mean, Charlie Brewer was not going to pick up the first down. It was great pursuit by Nolan Smith and Trayvon Walker, a pair of freshmen, highly regarded freshmen. And Walker really put a lick on Charlie Brewer, who is still down on the field. Wait for the call.
Enter the play. Personal foul, late hit on the defense. Number 44, 15-yard penalty, be added on the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
And remember, Charlie Brewer came out of the Big 12 championship game with a head injury. 2 weeks before that, he got hit in the head against Texas also. Here's the end of the play. Does a nice job to get outside the pocket. He's not going to get the first down. And there's the hit. It draws the penalty on Trayvon Walker. And again, it's the back of his head hitting the turf that may be the issue for Charlie Brewer at the end of that play.
Fearful, Todd, that he's going to have the same experience here. You see kind of the dazed look as he was looking around the building.
So we have Gary Bohannon, who was the guy the second quarterback who came in that Big 12 championship game as well.
He led Baylor to a couple of scores. His stats weren't great. He was playing on an injured knee. He's a good runner. He lofted that one over the head of Jamichael Hasty, and there's a flag down back behind the line of scrimmage.
When we saw Bohannon in the Big 12 championship game, he had a little bit of a knee injury.
Offense, number 76.
Had a little bit of a knee from the Kansas game, so he wasn't completely as effective as he could be because of that. And then we also saw Jacob Zeno, their third-team quarterback, who was the scout team quarterback all during the week. And he came in and made a couple nice throws in the fourth quarter, and then in overtime, he just couldn't finish the deal.
Jacob Zeno, a true freshman, had played in only one game all year, thrown into it at the end, and you saw only 2 completions. But both were huge gainers, and he demonstrated a rocket arm. He was a very highly recruited player out of high school in San Antonio. NFL caliber arm for sure.
Yeah, one was, I think, an 81-yard touchdown. The other one was a 78-yard completion that set up a field goal.
Baylor fans down below us cheering for Charlie Brewer as they put him on the golf cart to take him off the field. Jamichael Hasty stacked up and driven back, led by Tay Crowder.
Well, now the other thing that Bohannon has to kind of have, and here comes Zeno, they're going to play both these guys, I think. I don't think this is a permanent switch. I think they're going to kind of go back and forth, knowing that Zeno maybe has a little better arm, a little livelier arm, and Bohannon gives him a little bit more of a dual threat. I think we'll see both of them here the rest of the time for Baylor.
Zeno on target. R.J. Sneed didn't quite get to the line to make, about a yard short into Georgia territory, just inside the 48, stopped by Lewis Seen. 3rd and 1, almost certainly 4-down territory. Hasty, first down with a yard to spare to the Georgia 46, but we're more than midway through the fourth quarter now. Baylor still down by 12.
And whoever is in a quarterback, there has to be a little bit of a speed up on the clock internally, because you've got to score twice.
6'1", 204, freshman out of San Antonio, Texas, John Jay High School. Jacob Zeno. Hasty in trouble and swung down by Malik Herring for a loss of 3.
Still trying to run the football. Herring is going to make a quick inside move, beats the left guard, Khalil Keith. Again, the quickness of this Georgia D. Their defensive linemen, all very athletic, all very quick, and they rotate him to try to keep him as fresh as possible. But I bet this is the most snaps Herring's played in a game in quite a while.
Still stuffing the run as the Bulldogs have all year long. Zeno tucked it down, didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Herring there again with Devontae Wyatt.
Excellent coverage downfield. It was only a 3-man route. Only 3 guys released into the route for Baylor. They were all blanketed downfield with a free safety helping over the top. Nowhere to go with the football for Zeno. Right now he's got to think part of the yardage back. Doesn't have to get it all back on this one throw. The biggest thing, you just can't hold the football long, because your O-line has had their issues blocking this Georgia front when it comes to pass rush.
Zeno playing in just his 3rd game of the year. They've been the last 3 games played by Baylor. Checks it down. Jamichael Hasty slips down, gained about a yard and a half. 4th down, I would think, across midfield, under 5.5 minutes to go. You have to go for it.
Yeah, because not only do you need 2 scores, you need 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not a touchdown and a field goal to tie the football game or take the lead.
And the operation is slow, and I think that's one of the negatives of having an inexperienced freshman in the game right now. They rush 5. Zeno! Down he goes, back behind midfield. They blitzed Nolan Smith. And they've timed up some blitzes very well tonight. Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, and the Georgia Bulldog defenders executing as Georgia takes over on downs.
Timeout.
Yeah, they had a couple blitzes. They're going to bring Nolan Smith. They're also going to bring a guy off the slot. They're very creative. They're very exotic on third down. And they get to the quarterback, Zeno, for another sack.
There's Tyler Simmons in motion again and taking the hand off. He gets about 4. So under 5 to go, only 1 timeout for Baylor. You'd think Kirby Smart's priority right here is running the clock.
I think he just pointed to the clock right there.
And the play clock under 5, as Todd said. Fromm certainly doesn't need to be reminded of that part of it. Zamir White.
So what you tell your backs and receivers is protect the football. Don't let them come and strip it. Remember, this is a defense that has had 30 takeaways this season. They're plus 14 in the turnover margin. So take care of the football, get the yardage you can, and get down. And don't run out of bounds and stop the clock.
Another 3.5 to go. And Georgia looks like it's comfortably on its way to victory now. We've talked about Jake Fromm has the decision to make after this game about whether he's going to go into the draft after this is junior season. I did communicate again with Todd McShay today. He said he has Jake as a late first-round pick. But he said that when you talk to people, the grades are kind of all over the place for Jake Fromm. Sets up a screen to Kenny McIntosh. He loves college football. You know, the coaches told us he's not really a fan of NFL football. He watches college football. When they say, hey, did you see the throw Aaron Rodgers made the other day? He said, no, I didn't see it. He really watches it. It's possible Jake is taking his last snap as a Georgia Bulldog. We'll see what happens. It's a punt by John Mayers, excuse me, by Jake Camarda, and a fair catch made by Graylin Arnold.
I think that I mentioned earlier, the fact of being a first-round draft pick, I think, is got to be important for him. I also think that in terms of NFL grades, I think the way he handled how disappointing things were this year and how tough things were, I think that speaks a lot about his character, and I think NFL people pay attention to that with pretty high regard as well. So I still think his NFL grades probably did not drop a whole lot from what they might have thought of him last year or the beginning of this year. I think he's a leader, he's a winner, he's a competitor. He processes things quickly.
You think he'll be a good NFL quarterback?
I think he has a chance to be, yeah, I do. You know, he doesn't have an overpowering arm, but I think he can make throws that need to be made. I think that he's improved a lot as a downfield passer from early on in his career. I think that was one of the real knocks on him when he played as a freshman and sophomore.
He's certainly been a winner, 3 straight SEC East titles. Of course, it's not just him. He has an excellent team around him. Denzel Mims the catch, DJ Daniel the tackle. Will be a disappointing first trip to the Sugar Bowl for Baylor since 1957. And Matt Rule told us Zeno gets hit as he throws, still got it off to Treston Ebner. Matt Rule told us since he was in high school, he's always wanted to come to the Sugar Bowl. He had never been here before this week. He grew up in New York City, but moved to State College, Pennsylvania when he was in high school. Became a big Penn State fan and watched Penn State win one of the big games in school history in January 1st of 1983 here in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. When a certain quarterback threw a long pass to Greg Garrity. He said that play is still etched in his mind. It is for Vince Dooley too. You saw
absolutely
the legendary coach before the game, and he said, "I still remember you throwing that pass down the sideline."
He said, "What was that kid's name again? Garrity?" I said, "Yeah, Greg Garrity." He said, "He was a walk-on, wasn't he?" I said, "Yeah, he was."
Matt Rule went on to play at Penn State as a walk-on for Joe Paterno. Zeno's throw incomplete. Looking for Jared Atkinson. Third down and 10. You said, of course, your team won the national championship in that victory over Georgia. First-round pick, or an academic All-American, won a lot of games. You said that Sugar Bowl, that was the highlight of your life, winning the national championship here.
Football. Playing and you know, winning a championship and all the work you put into it. And of course, we'll have another national championship decided in this same building on January 13th. And It's the ultimate, for a college football player. It's the highest achievement as a team player that I ever was a part of, and very, very special.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket. The pass crossed the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Boy, Malik Herring has really dialed up the pressure.
He has.
Number 10 here in the second half. Nolan Smith, some well-timed blitzes.
He's one of those guys, a little, as he has developed, he's going to be an NFL guy. I mean, they talked about Tyler Clark being the most right now NFL guy. Herring is a guy who is developing into that. He's got the kind of body and quickness that NFL teams like.
Zeno on 4th and 10, intercepted. Picked off by Richard LeCount, his second of the night.
Kirby Smart's telling him, get down. Everybody's saying, get down. He said, I'm going to run over and see my peeps instead.
Kirby Smart wanted to celebrate with him, but once he went leaping over the bench, LeCount was kind of out of range for the coach.
I'll tell you what, watching Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart, every single defensive play, how hard they coach, every play they are coaching and instructing and giving hand signals. And now they get the fruits of victory at the end with that interception. So a win here allows this senior class to tie for the most wins in Georgia history with 44. And it also means Georgia under Kirby would be 8-4 against top 10 opponents. I mean, that's, winning a lot of big games against quality opponents. He has done a marvelous job in his time at Georgia, and they're not going anywhere. They're built to last by the way that they're recruiting.
And Fromm takes an E. They get pretty smart with the bucket. And they do match the group from 2005 as the winningest senior class in Georgia history. That bunch went 44-9. This group will finish 44-12. Obviously, they play more games these days with the conference championship game and the playoff. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs, winners of the All-State Sugar Bowl 26-14. Here's Holly.
You smell like Gatorade, Coach.
At least could give me a water,
How exciting was that for you to teach these young men after those questions about whether or not they would jump into defeat tonight?
Well, it says so much about these kids' parents. Since we got to this bowl site, I've never had this happen in my whole career coaching. We didn't have one guy late to a meal. We didn't have one guy late to a bus. We didn't have one guy late to anything. And I knew right then, these kids wanted to play in this game.
You guys had a terrific defensive performance. Tell me about that last pick by Richard LeCount. He jumps over the bench. You're trying to tell him to get down. He had other ideas.
No, he did a great job. We knew at 25 was in. He was a big gas route guy down the middle, and we had one of our coaches actually calling it out for him, saying 25 down the middle because we were in split safety, and Richard did a great job keying it and getting a pick.
A very special hug at the end of this game for DeAndre Swift. I saw that moment on the sideline. What has he meant to you in this program?
He's meant everything. He's a warrior. He's a competitor. He wanted to come on this trip. He wanted to play in this game. He wanted to be here for his teammates. He wanted to be here with them, and he meant so much to them. I mean, the impact he makes without the ball in his hand is immeasurable, and that's what he did a great job of.
We saw that tonight. And also the future is bright for this program. Your freshman, George Pickens, with a new record, tying a record in a bowl game for a Georgia Bulldog. How do you see the future and his bright future?
Well, George has got a lot of opportunities in front of him. He's a really good football player, and we're awful proud of George. And I tell you what, I've never been around a kid that loves practice more than George does.
Practice?
That's right, practice.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it.
Jake Fromm standing by here. And Jake, one of the best quarterbacks. How are you?
Doing good.
Doing great. One of the best quarterbacks to play here at Georgia and put a uniform on. How proud were you tonight of the way you were able to connect and this offense was able to move the football?
Yeah, this is awesome. Praise God for the opportunity to come out here and play. I think our guys responded well. There was no doubt, from our guys who wanted to play. Our guys showed up. They played their hearts out, and to come out here and play 4 quarters, to come out here with a victory is a blessing.
I know nobody will give them the game ball, but I really believe your offensive line, this remade offensive line, had your back. How did they show up?
Cade, Jamari, Warren, those guys, they got put in a big role. And they stepped up. They played great. So thankful for those guys and their hard work showing off and paying off.
I know that you have a decision to make in your future, but how does it help for you to see the bright future of some of these young receivers around you?
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are stepping up. They're making plays, and the best is ahead for them, no doubt.
If this is your last game as a Georgia Bulldog, what do you want people to remember about Jake Fromm?
Yep. I want to represent Christ the best I can, and I hope I can reach and influence as many people as possible. I'm thankful to play here. This university is amazing, and to play here every single game, every single moment, it's been a blessing. I'm so thankful to be able to play here.
Thank you so much, Jake.
Well, that is his final game, and it is there for Charlie Warner, the tight end, getting a pat on the top of the head from Kirby Smart. Class act, Jake Fromm.
Oh, boy. Absolutely. Absolutely. We cheer for guys like that. You know?
Georgia wins 26-14. Stay tuned for SportsCenter in the Ford post-game trophy ceremony.